is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? This is USAPrepares.com. Here we go. Your dial set correctly. USAPrepares.com. We're broadcasting live from the farm high atop the Missouri Ozark Mountains. Tom's producing the broadcast. Converging threats are confronted daily by your instructors. I'm Vincent Finelli. And in the studio with me, joining me today, is Ken Hurley. Welcome, Ken.
Well, thank you, Vince, and glad to be here and looking for a wild couple hours.
And I just want to share with you that we have some pets here at the farm, as well as the animals that we raise. The cattle. We've got dogs and cats and chickens. And, you know, the dogs bring in, since they're protection dogs, they bring fleas and ticks right into the farmhouse. And as a result, you know that necessity is the mother of invention. As a result, I placed a call to Matt Jones. And Matt Jones is the CEO of Cedarside.com. And Dr. Norman Shealy has been talking about Cedarside as a natural repellent and the natural method to solving the flea and tick problems that we have in our lives. So I'd like to welcome Matt Jones. Welcome, Matt Jones.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, good morning, Matt. It's so good to have you on the broadcast with us, and I have tried your products. I received them, and I want to share with you that they absolutely work. So I want to thank you for building such a great lineup of products. You know, there's a product that we were advised to use by our veterinarian, and that's one of those poisons that insecticide poisons that you put between the shoulders of your dogs, and you just put it on there once a month. And we religiously followed our veterinarian's advice, and we had a veterinarian in Virginia and one here in Missouri, and they both said the same thing. All you have to do is just apply this liquid, and it will interrupt the reproductive cycle of the insects, the ticks, the fleas. And you know what? After years, I believe it destroyed the central nervous system of our German Shepherds. And one of them, we got these German Shepherds in 2001, and one of them could not move his hind legs. They didn't work. They just stopped working. Literally, he had to drag himself around. At the same point in time, the female, same age, she became incontinent, and it was a real problem. And as much as we love those dogs, we had to put them down because we could not allow them one to poop just wherever she happened to be, and the other one would have his skin so torn up that he had maggots growing on him, and there's nothing we could do to stop it. So we had to put them down. Two of our family members we had to put down because their central nervous system was destroyed, I believe, by fipronil. So we searched for alternatives, and we didn't have any, Matt, until we came across you via Dr. Norman Shealy, who's a brain surgeon and neurosurgeon, surgeon of the year, and he raves about your products. So here we are. I've tried them, and they work. So, Matt, would you just tell us a little bit about who Matt Jones is?
Sure. It may be a complicated answer, but I'll try to keep it simple and just say we're running a company. Firstly, I'm the son of two career Marines, so they put 50 years in between the two, and raised a couple of boys who want to do the world right, and and just reveal some answers to some questions and make our lives full of purpose. So
Sure.
we set out to do great things, and I've worked oil and gas. I've worked in the legal world, private equity, Fortune 100 America, and found myself in the last several years trying to help small companies do great things, and specifically focusing on companies that we think are making a difference and trying to change the world. And that's how we find cedarside.com. And it's been a real fun couple of years developing and honing a product line that seemed to be doing great things for a while. And that's where we are. We're just making organic and non-toxic pest control products for indoor, outdoor. We have a wood treatment product that's non-toxic, and we're consistently developing and beta testing new stuff to send to the market when it's ready.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can tell you that our farm, this is embarrassing, but I'm going to say it anyway. With all the rain that we had about a month of nonstop rain. And because of that, we had fleas and ticks absolutely out of control. If you come to the Ozark Mountains, you'll see that all the farms are overrun with weeds and grass. We had so much rain, the weeds are out of control, and it was so wet we couldn't mow. So all around the farm, there's more grass than we should have, and we have more insects and bugs than we should have, or that's typical for this time of the year. And our dogs would in their natural course of being outside, they would walk through the grass, pick up the fleas, pick up the ticks, and then they'd bring them inside, and it was out of control. It was absolutely out of control. Mrs. Finelli and I have flea bites, tick bites all over our legs, hundreds of them. And weeks ago we said, this has got to stop. And we did, and we refused to put the chemical insecticides on the dogs. So what we ended up doing was this little trial. When I called you and I said, I'd like to evaluate the product and see how well it works for us, and then I'd like to give a full report on the air. And that's what we're doing right now. Matt, let me tell you what happened. I used the Cedarside spray, and it's a cedar oil. It smells like cedar. It absolutely does. And what I found was the fleas die instantly. I don't mean within seconds. I mean faster than that. And so what we've done is we've sprayed the dogs lightly, make sure we didn't spray them in their faces, sprayed them on their undersides, their legs, and then we, with a metal comb, combed the cedar oil into their coat. And within just by combing them out, the ticks were killed slowly, but almost instantly, but not quite as fast as the fleas. And they died. And we repeated this, every couple of days, and it works. It absolutely works. So I wanted to share that with you. We spray the mat, the mat at the where we wipe our feet by the doors where they like to hang out, and we spray their blankets, and we spray we have some Oriental rugs where they like to hang out, and we spray that, and that's how we did it. Now, is that typical of what you see? Are these results typical of what you see?
Yeah, they really are. The ticks are a little bit of a hardier insect, so this is we're not dealing with a nuclear bomb attack here. These are finely placed shots, if you will, that this bug spray is targeting the central nervous system and the respiratory system of the insect. And it's not toxic to the mammals at all, but the ticks seem to be a little bit more resilient. So it does take either a little bit more solution or a little bit more time, one of the two. But you're right. As far as fleas go, they don't stand a chance.
Well, that's right. And my dad is no longer with us, but he used to talk about ticks, and he would say, geez, those things have steel bodies. I mean, they are resilient. They are really, really, really tough. But I can tell you this, that I have not, we've used it for about a week, and I have not had a tick bite in probably half of that time. So within half a week, we stopped the ticks. We instantly stopped the fleas. And Matt, I'm not here to. This is not an infomercial. What this is an endorsement of your product, and I want to make sure that the class understands that when I hear advertisements on this broadcast, I immediately call the CEO of the company, and I talk to them, and I want to know about their product. I want to make sure that the product actually works, because I don't want a product that does not work advertised on this broadcast. I'm very serious about this, and I mentioned that to you. And you're not an advertiser, but you do have a product that works, and you solved a problem for me that I consider is pretty serious, because you can get sick from all these tick bites. There's tick fever, there's Lyme's disease, and I wanted to make sure that we did not have that happen in our house. So I want to thank you for building a product that really works. So tell us how it works. What makes the Cedarside family of products work? What does it do?
Well, Cedarside cedar oil for thousands of years has been known to be a repellent for insects. And part of the reason why it's a repellent is it's poisonous to insects. They don't like it. It doesn't react well with their systems. It's repulsive to them. Mm-hmm. So they'll run from it. That being said, if an insect insects have pores just like we do. They're larger on an insect, comparatively speaking, than on a human. And when those pores get clogged, they cannot breathe. So their whole body is covered with these pores, and then when they can't breathe, their systems shut down, and they go into a type of cardiac arrest. And that's kind of what occurs. So it's almost, for the most part, the insects are actually killing themselves through a form of some type of a heart attack after being treated with the Cedarside products. So there's a whole host of carrier oils that mix with the cedar oil to create the different products. So, and we make sure to handpick only the finest food grade and cosmetic grade ingredients to go into these bug sprays, the stuff you spray around your house, the stuff you spray around your yard, the stuff you spray on your animals, and the stuff you spray on your wood for preservative.
Matt, hold that thought. We're going to a break. We're going to come back in a couple minutes. And I'd like to ask about other animals, like cats. We'll be right back. Problem with fleas and ticks here at the farm with the protection animals. We have 5 dogs and 5 cats and a lot of other animals. The protection animals will patrol the property and come in the house. And because of that, they would bring fleas and ticks in with them. And it was a problem that we just had to solve. So I called Matt Jones of Cedarside, and he solved the problem for us, and he solved it with some of his cedar oil-based products. And with me in the studio is Ken Hurley, and Ken is a energy-efficient home builder designer. And he is just chomping at the bit. You have a question for Matt Jones?
Yeah, good morning, Matt. Because, when we work on new construction and so on, we're out in rough territory, and, it's not a well-manicured yard and so on, and we have the problems as humans. I'm just wondering, is your product safe to use on myself and my coworkers?
Good morning, Ken. Yes, sir, it sure is. We spray this product. It's actually the same product that you can put on your beloved animals. We recommend, we've got a couple different ones. One's an industrial strength of the former, and it is safe. It's safe to put on your skin. It's safe to put on your hair. It's safe to put on your face, on your on your pregnant wife, and it's safe to put on children. And we do it every day, and we've had absolutely zero harmful effects. And even when we're dealing with people who are allergic to cedar, I would say 9 out of 10 times people who are allergic to cedar are allergic to the pollen, and this is an oil, so it's different than the pollen. It's not though it does become airborne through the spray bottle, it's not affecting folks the same way, even if they're allergic to cedar products. So we do tell them test it in small doses first. But, yeah, you'll have absolutely no harmful effects spraying it on your skin or on your clothes.
Well, I think you've just solved a huge problem.
You know, Ken, we have a lot of our instructors come visit us at the farm, and a lot of our instructors have farms, and they go out in the woods and they go out in their four-wheelers and go hiking, and they maintain the properties. And what I see them do that I don't do is they will spray an insecticide like a DEET, D-E-E-T based insecticide on their skin, on their pants, on their boots. I don't do it. I actually, I would pick the ticks off me and the fleas off me rather than spray an insecticide on the largest organ of my body, which is my skin. Matt, do you have any thoughts about spraying chemical-based insecticides on the skin versus what your product does?
You know, I don't generally comment too heavily on the chemicals. I used them most of my life growing up. They're strong. There's plenty of people that have done research, and their research shows, you know, there's certainly some well, they definitely think that there's some connection to some negative effects. I no longer use chemicals. I don't think anybody my immediate friend and family base use the chemicals, and I think we're all real happy about it.
Yeah, I agree with that, and you know, I really just don't want to use them. Let's talk about other methods. Now, some people use electronic repellents to keep the bugs away from. Let's say they have a patio or a deck, and they use an electronic repellent. Can you contrast that with using the cedar oil-based products?
Yeah, I've just begun to see some of these other products that people are finding out or they're using out in the market, and I'm not really sure how those are working and what they're using. I mean, I think they're emitting. I know you said electronically, so I guess they're emitting some type of a sound wave, and I'm not really familiar with what they're doing, but I know we're very comfortable with what we're doing.
Yeah, and then there's also those bug lights that attract mosquitoes and bugs. And, you know, I don't want to bring them closer. I want to keep them farther away. And if they're on me, I'd like them to die. Matt Jones, Ken Hurley, Vin Finelli, USAPrepares.com. Studio with me, Matt Jones is on the line, and we're talking about products to solve the flea and tick and insect problem. Ken Hurley, you have a question for Matt Jones.
Yeah, Matt solved a problem being at the job site with a lot of weeds going around, you know, a brand new house and everything, but want to take it to an abode that's already finished up. We're getting into, now today it's very hot, but in the next few weeks we're going to get into fall and so on, and the outside creatures, critters, and insects want to go to the inside, and a lot of people will come in and spray hire somebody to spray the outside of their house and insect repellent to kill spiders and so on because they don't want them on the inside of the house. How does this product work for that?
Ken, specifically, you're asking me how to treat the inside of your house to prevent the onslaught and assault of the pests coming from outside to the inside?
Yeah, and either spraying a cedar side barrier on the outside of the house and the inside of the house, or what can we do? Because I don't like using that toxic stuff either, and I want to do something different this year.
Yeah, so we always recommend treating both places, both the outdoor and the indoor. And if you've got a control on your yard, then you won't have as big a problem with those pests trying to come through your walls. So we have an outdoor product that we can eliminate nearly all of the insects: fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, fire ants, even grub worms, and we can also push away snakes. And once we do that, then there isn't anything that's going to be coming to your house. The downside may be that your neighbors may get all your bugs, but if you live on a spot where, like Vincent, then they got to travel pretty good ways to get to that neighbor's house. But we can treat the outside, and we can keep them out of the yard, and then a light barrier around the inside should be all we need. And those are two different products.
Cool. And for those of us who raise a garden, you know, we have ants and stuff like that in a garden. You know, I don't like using other stuff, you know, that kills the ants and so on, that has the skull and crossbones on it and so on. How does this work? Like I have about 4 or 5 raised bed gardens, and boy, I'm really having to fight the insects.
So if you're going to spray the Cedar Side Outdoor product directly on ants, it is going to kill them. If you're not hitting them directly, then it'll probably push them or deter them. So you could spray under the raised gardens and take care of any pests that are there. But if you're not treating the actual soil of your raised gardens, then the insects in those beds should be just fine.
Matt, when someone wants to go to your website and learn more about your products, class, just go to cedarside.com, cedarcide.com, cedarcide.com, cedarside.com, and you'll see there's a place where you can shop. There's an About tab. You can learn about the products, and you can learn more about what we're talking about right now. And so, Matt, just to be absolutely clear, if I were going out in the field, and let's say I was concerned about insects being on me and biting me, and especially ticks, I can spray this on my blue jeans around, from my knee down, right?
That's right.
Okay, and then I can spray it on my socks, and I can actually spray it on my calves if I wanted to. Is there any concern whatsoever about doing that?
No, not at all. In fact, I've been having a heck of in Texas. I think we've got more chiggers and grasshoppers than we've ever had. So it's an exponential insect population growth this year in Texas. And when I'm going out to the ranch, I am spraying my legs prior to putting socks on, when I put the socks on, and then on top of the jeans that I put over the socks and the shoes. And so there's no stain to the clothing. There's no harmful. The product actually is kind of a silky, oily feel. It feels good. Actually, if you get chigger bites, flea, tick, mosquito bites, the product works really well to soothe the itchy sensation you get after a bug bite. So it's kind of a one-stop shop for treating insect bites.
Matt, what do we do with our cats? When all of our cats clean themselves by licking their fur, is there a concern about spraying Cedar Side on a cat?
We should be a little more careful than we are with dogs. We take treatment of cats. We pay a little bit more attention here. Cats seem to have a much more pronounced allergy to cedar products. Some cedar products have, it's been reported that they're poisonous to cats. We do not have products that are poisonous to cats. That being said, to your point that cats clean themselves, if you were to put a tremendous amount of bug spray product to treat a cat, one, they don't like to be sprayed, and two, they react defensively to it. So the way we recommend treating a cat is to treat in a very small dose initially so they get used to it. And we also recommend not spraying it directly on a cat. As we said, cats don't like to get sprayed with anything, with water, with bug spray. It's the same sensation they don't like. So we recommend spraying it on your hand or a cloth and just petting it into the cat's fur, and that's going to give them plenty of repellent and contact kill bug spray in their fur in order to protect them from the elements.
Matt, we're talking about you've got a ranch. Ken and I live in the country. I've got a farm. And my concern is ticks and fleas. But what about people who live in the city? Well, this is a worldwide broadcast. We are in Europe. We're in North Africa. We're in the Middle East, Russia, and, of course, all over North America via satellite. Now, those who are listening who live in the city might be in an apartment with bed bugs, or they might have termites, or they might have just plain mites. How does your product work with those types of pests, and how would you recommend abating them?
It works really well with all those types of pests. We've had great success treating no-see-ums and sandflies in Mexico on the coast with the bars that are using our product to wipe out those populations. Here in Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas, we've got an awful West Nile virus issue going on with the mosquitoes, and it works great as a contact killer and a repellent for mosquitoes. We do a tremendous amount of talking with folks who have bed bugs and skin mites, and work directly with Megan Wells out in Hawaii, who runs a website called StopSkinMites.com. And our products, Tick Shield and Best Jet, are very helpful in treating the horrible affliction of skin mites. And also, those same products we use through a fogging system in order to have one of the best bed bug formulas on the planet. So used properly as a bed bug killer, our product line is able to bring comfort to folks all over the world, and we're doing that every single day.
Matt, the reason I mentioned bed bugs is there's an infestation in New York City of bed bugs. It's absolutely out of control. Even the finest hotels have problems with bed bugs now. And for mites, I guess the traditional approach would be to put your sheets and cloth products in a clothes dryer and turn the heat up to kill them. What do you do for bed bugs? Do you spray the sheets? Do you spray the comforters? Do you spray the carpeting, around the bed? What do you do?
Well, we recommend treating with a non-thermal fogger, of which we don't make this fogger, but there's a great company in Florida that does, called Createch, and we resell their fogger at cost in order to get our solution to the world. And what we recommend doing is exposing as much of your apartment or home as you can to the fog. And it's a non-toxic, nice-smelling product. Is exactly what you're spraying on the animals is what, in the last couple of weeks, is what we would recommend putting in the fogger. And you want to get a couple treatments. They take 30 minutes to an hour apiece. You evacuate your living environment for about 3 hours, and you come back and you're no worse for it. But you really do need to take the sheets when you're treating for bed bugs. You expose the mattress and the box springs to the fog. You take the mattress off the box springs. You take the sheets off the bed. You remove any kind of clutter where bed bugs may hide in books and newspapers and old magazines and piles of clothes. You have to eliminate all those potential hiding places. In an extreme case, they'll take the face plates off the electrical sockets. They'll remove the air vent covers and just try to get to every nook and cranny you can reach with that fog. And that's the way we found to be most effective in treating bed bugs.
Matt, when we come back, can we talk about the price of some of these products? Because I'm sure some of the class is interested in purchasing, and they'd like to know what the cost for the fogger and some of these products that will solve their problems will cost them. We'll be right back. Jones is with us. Ken Hurley's in the studio at the farmhouse, and we've been talking about solving problems with bugs. Matt Jones has been mentioning and discussing the fogging system that he sells. It's available on the website cedarside.com, cedarcide.com. That's cedarcide.com. And I'm going to give you their phone number if you'd like to call. 800-842-1464. 800-842-1464. Matt, can you go in for just discuss for a minute or so the costs involved in the products that I've sprayed on our animals as well as the fogger? And then Ken's got some questions about new construction.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess just because you asked earlier, too, I just wanted to reiterate that when the weather gets cooler and all the other insects seem to go away, we see a growing issue with bed bugs. So we're about to enter the time of the year where we really need to prepare our homes and our travel plans for the onslaught of bed bugs as they seem to grow in the cooler times. And we get plenty of calls every single day that people are calling us when all other methods, the heat treatment, the other bed bug sprays have failed them. So we've got some really happy people with the bed bug treatments. Mm-hmm. That being said, bed bugs are one of the more expensive treatments. Bed bugs and skin mites are an awful affliction. However, we can generally treat them for a fraction of the cost since this is a do-it-yourself product. So when somebody's paying $1,000 to a heat treatment or a couple $1,000 is the latest quotes I've seen on eradicating a bed bug population. The fogger, which carries a 3-year warranty from the company who manufactures it in Florida, is $199.95. So you're at $200 there, and on a 2,000 square foot house or apartment or smaller, a couple gallons of our Best Jet or Tick Shield formulas is what you will need to eradicate a bed bug population if done, if you do all the other little things along with it. Flipping the mattress, all the things I had said earlier, getting rid of the clutter, treating the closets, and that's getting rid of the clutter is the biggest thing. I just can't say that enough. But so for a bed bug treatment, we're looking at somewhere around $400, $500 for a larger house, and that's probably the same on a mite issue. If you're buying a quart of, which I believe I sent you some quarts, Vincent.
Yes.
If you're buying that quart to put underneath the sink, just for everything from treating your animals to yourself when you're going to go for a hike in the woods or do some work around the farm, mowing the grass, whatever you've got to do. That quart bottle is $29.95, and as you experienced, it goes a long way. So
absolutely,
we've got a good, faithful amount of people who are probably buying a quart every couple months, and it's a very versatile solution.
I totally agree. And Ken, you had a couple of quick questions. We've got maybe a minute left.
Okay, real quick. When you build a new house, a lot of people treat for termites and they use a real high toxic chemical. Can this be used, and what's the longevity of it? And to help with dust mites or whatever or other things, can you spray this product on your return filters of your HVAC system?
In reverse, yes, absolutely. You can spray it all around the HVAC system. Do not spray a pilot light because the product is flammable when sprayed directly to an open flame. This product will kill termites on the spot, and it will repel termites as well. And before we get out, Vincent, I wanted your people to know if they call in today, we're standing by to give 10% off of all orders and free shipping, and 20% off of orders over $200, excluding the foggers, because we don't make that. But everything else, we will get you people taken care of with 20% off all orders over $200 and 10% off all orders and free shipping across the board.
There you go. Matt Jones, Cedarside.
Tell our people USA Prepared.
There you go. Matt Jones, Cedarside. 800-842-1464. 800-842-1464. We'll be right back after top.
Is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? This is hour number 2 of USAPrepares.com. First hour was with Matt Jones of Cedarside, and the offer still holds. If you would like to buy Cedarside, the same flea and tick repellent that we use on Iuti and Thomas Jefferson, our Mastiffs. 10% discount right now. And if you'd like to call in, the number is 800-842-1464, 800-842-1464. He's offering a 10% and 20% discount for those of you in the class. So I just mentioned USAPrepares.com. This hour, we're going to talk about electric cars. In the studio with me is Ken Hurley. Ken, glad you're still with us.
Good morning, and boy, I can't wait for this discussion. Last hour was fantastic, and man, we going to have things that are going to quit bugging us, and we're going to have potential shocking news with electric cars this hour. So my seatbelt is hooked.
With us in the broadcast classroom is Bert Bertones from Silicon Valley, California. He's an electrical engineer. He holds a master's degree in business, and he is a designer, patent holder, expert witness. He designs wireless network communications infrastructure. Some of the largest companies in the world are his clients and customers. Welcome, Bert Bertones.
Hi, Vince. Good to be with you again.
Hey, but Bert, I've got a question. Now, you are the CEO of a Silicon Valley company. You're not selling anything. You don't have products that would probably be purchased by our class, but you are in the Silicon Valley, and you are in Silicon Valley, and you have been there almost since graduation from college back in the 1970s. I know that. Now, you are surrounded by these companies who build products and infrastructure and wireless as well as wired network infrastructure, communications infrastructure, Cisco specifically. And these companies have built back doors into their electronics, and they are spying on us. How do you feel about that, being that you are in Silicon Valley surrounded by the companies who are spying us, including Apple Computer?
Yeah. Well, Vince, it kind of crept up on us. Many of us knew for years that this was going on, but it was at a very limited level, and we pretty much knew that anything we put in an email or in a phone call could be listened to because it was archived, stored, intercepted, whatever. And, of course, there are a lot of subcontractors to the NSA and CIA here in the Valley, and, at a bar or whatever, people talk about things. And so we knew it was going on. What's staggering is level it has reached. And a lot of us are worried about it because besides the personal liberty issues, we're wasting billions of dollars of resources on just like listening to each other, which is crazy. I mean, they're building this facility in Utah with massive storage. So basically every email, every phone call made is going to be stored. They have to pipe in water just to cool the place. It looks, I mean, if you look at it from the air, it's the biggest shopping center ever built on the planet. And for what? Just really for spying, which is, when you think about it, fairly unproductive activity. So that part does bother myself and many other executives, and it's sad to see a lot of corporate names tarnished because of their collusion and involvement on spying. And again, a lot of it just got out of hand. People thought it was, good and for national security to keep track of nefarious activity, but it's just grown exponentially to where it really, in my personal view, makes no sense what's going on right now.
Bert, let me mention this. Apple and a lot of the other companies were asked, are you guys turning over records? Are you turning over information to NSA and to the federal government agencies about what we're doing? Are you turning over tweets? Are you turning over emails? Are you turning over recorded digital conversations? Are you turning that over? And they said no. And it's absolutely true. They didn't turn it over. And the reason is because they built computer network systems right on the facility, and real time, the NSA has their own copy of all of these records. They're not turning them over. They've got them real time. They don't have to turn them over because they've got them already.
That's absolutely correct.
Sometimes I hit my own button, and it really makes me. I'll tell you what, Bert. While we're on this, spying and invasion. Obviously, I can hear in the tone in your voice. I've known you for a number of years, and I can tell that this really bothers you. It really bothers you because you are. You're very interested in efficiency. You don't like wasted electrons. You just don't like electrons going up, being burned up as heat, unless we're trying to make heat. You really are interested in efficiency. And what you're saying is that the spying that's going on is non-productive. And my question is, and Bert, I liken this to a swimming pool in a neighborhood. And you've got some ladies out there in their bikinis, and then you've got some sick people prying over the fence, trying to get a sneak view of women in bikinis because they're sick. That's who these people are who are spying on us. They're sick. There's no reason to listen in on our conversations. I don't believe in this terrorism stuff. I don't believe that we have these terroristic threats to the level that our government is trying to make us believe. They just want to pry into our lives. They want to put their hands in our pants. Men, women, and children, they're that sick. I'm talking about TSA, and I'm talking about the rest of it, the illegal searches and seizures. And Bert, yesterday we had Lynette Pate on. Lynette Pate is one of our instructors. She's been to the expos. She's been on the radio. She's been to the meetups. And she's the organic guru. Her father was brutally murdered in Arkansas. He was shot in the back of the head with a .44 Magnum, and it blew part of his head away. And the police confiscated his property. They took his gun collection. They took his ammunition. They took his truck. They took his trailer. They confiscated it. And, class, I want to tell you, as a result of her being on this broadcast, she called me yesterday afternoon. And she said, Vincent, I just want to give you some news. The police have been to the USA Prepares website. They've been to her website. They've read the posts that we have. They listened to the broadcast right here, this broadcast. And they decided that there's no reason for them to hold her father's weapons his gun collection, his truck, or his trailer. They're turning it all over to her today. Prior to the broadcast, they would not even return her phone calls.
Well, that's great news.
I'm like furious. I'm absolutely furious. And what I really want to do is I want to look at the statistics of how many people are listening to this broadcast on the internet, and I'm going to find out, if I can, how many of those listeners are from government agencies. I think our ratings are up because because of all the
largest workforce listening.
Hey, did you say work?
Sorry.
The largest force. Not workforce. Those guys don't work. They wouldn't know what work is. Work is making a product. Work is designing a product. Work is manufacturing a product. Those guys don't design, manufacture anything other than terror. But I got derailed. We're going to talk about electric cars, weren't we?
We were. But by the way, speaking of government, we got word this week that Siskiyou County in California is formally proceeding with removing themselves from the state of California.
What county?
Siskiyou. It's a tiny county up north, and they might get 2 or 3 other counties to go in with them. And basically, the premise that they're putting forth is that there's state bureaucracy that they absolutely have no use for, that they're paying taxes for, and they just want to run their own government. And apparently it's legal. The real tough point is you have to get Congress to approve it, but they're going forward with at least attempting to form their own state.
Well, I love it. I absolutely love it. And I would like our county here in Missouri to leave Missouri and form our own little form of government, because taxes are too high. We have some of the lowest taxes in Missouri, but it's still too high. And we have the sales tax, which is too high, and we have the personal property tax, which is too high. I'm not so sure that and the federal taxes. I mean, what the heck are those guys doing except bombing and blowing and murdering and causing mayhem around the planet? I mean, what do we need them for? So yeah, I'm all for doing the same thing right here in Missouri. By the way, I have gotten a number of emails and calls from people who listen to us all over the country. And what they want to do is, based on what they hear about Missouri and the fact that we are standing up and saying no to lots of things, they want to move here. They want to be our neighbors. Isn't that interesting? So, Bert, electric cars. Now, you own an electric car. Now, you're an electrical engineer. You're an electronic engineer. And you like the idea of the efficiency of an electric car. So why don't we describe what an electric car is? What's the difference between a gasoline-powered vehicle and an electric car? What's the difference, the main difference? Because you've got both.
Well, the main difference is really the motor. And electric car has an electric motor. Gasoline car has a gasoline engine. In a nutshell, the electric engine is extremely efficient, much simpler technology, less moving parts, and we can get into the specifics of why that's an overwhelming technical issue after the break.
Sounds good. Bert Bertonis, and we're going to talk about, you've got a reciprocating motion engine. The piston goes up, turns around, goes down, goes up, turns. That's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. The only thing that's good about it is you can put a lot of fuel in the vehicle. We'll be right back. The Blues Brothers, and they were in concert, and they were surrounded and outnumbered by Illinois' finest. And a lot of times it feels like that to us. We're outnumbered individually, and we're surrounded. And you know what? Remember that we're all in this together. And those of you who are in law enforcement listening to this today, you don't have to beat us up. We're the same as you guys. We are. Except we don't gang up on you. But if you don't knock it off, We might. Bert, we're talking about electric cars. Yep. And you've got one. So we're talking about the gasoline engine, and we're talking about the advantage of a gasoline-powered vehicle is the gas stations everywhere, and you can put a lot of fuel in the tank and go maybe 400 or 500 miles, depending on the vehicle. So when you have an electric car, you've got way fewer moving parts, right?
In an electric car, correct.
Yeah,
and those issues you just mentioned, they're going to gradually go away in time. But let's take a look at just for comparison, what's in your gasoline car. So you have this engine with all these moving parts. The oil has to come from the ground in the Middle East, from countries that hate us, be brought all the way over in tankers, then go to refineries, then made into gasoline, then go into more tankers or pipelines, and then go to the gas station, then go to your car. So that's pretty inefficient right there. But then looking at the engine, a lot of people don't realize the best gasoline cars made today are only about 30% efficient. That means by the time you have that gasoline in your tank, how much of those BTUs actually goes to power in your wheels? It's at best about 30% in the most modern, highest tech gasoline car. In an electric vehicle, it's 90%. Right there, that's an astounding difference. So the power in your battery in an electric car, 90% of it goes to your wheel. If you take into account the power grid, in other words, it had to get from your power plant over through the power transmission over to the outlet in your garage, that takes about another 10% out. So let's take that and say it's 80% efficient. So we're looking at something that's 80% versus something that's about 25% efficient. So that's a huge waste of energy every day. Remember, transportation is our largest use of energy in this country. So why are we doing this when instead we can be burning natural gas, which we have an abundance of, making electricity, and sending it over the power lines that are already in place?
Well, I've got to agree with you. I really do. Now, as far as I can tell, I'm having trouble figuring out how it would work for me at the farm. But for individuals who commute from, let's say, the suburbs to work, that's a different story. But for me, I don't think there's an electric-powered 3/4-ton truck, is there?
Not yet, but you might look into natural gas, which is, again, you have the problem of how many gas stations are selling it currently. But you can save about 50% or more on fuel costs by buying a vehicle that uses natural gas. And there are many trucks available for that.
Okay, that I'm interested in. Also, maybe a propane conversion unit for a gasoline-powered engine. But when we come back, let's talk about what it's like. How long do you plug it in? What kind of charger do you use? How long do the batteries last? We'll be right back. In the broadcast classroom with us, and we're talking about electric cars. And Bert, when you bought your electric car, did you have to change any of your wiring in your home, in your garage? What did you do so that you could charge this thing?
Well, there's three levels of charging: level 1, level 2, and level 3. And just real quick, level 1 is your standard 110, 120 volts. Level 2 is 220, 240 volts, and level 3 is 440 volts. So the car comes equipped with a 110 charger, which anybody can use and plug into any outlet, and that, unfortunately, though, is the slowest and will take about a day of charging to really completely charge the battery, which is just not practical for most people. Level 2 charger can fully charge the battery in about 4 hours or so, 4 to 6 hours. And the level 3 charger, which you can get at any Nissan dealership, and they're building more fast chargers throughout the country, that can do it in about an hour. If you're only half charged, which is the case a lot of times, figure about a half hour to charge your battery. So it varies, and there's other car models that are similar. Tesla does have a bigger battery pack, and it obviously takes longer to charge because it's going to go further and have more energy. But again, they're building. The good news is we're building chargers all throughout the country at interstates. Tesla itself has really taken the ball and funded building chargers throughout the country. So it's gradually improving, but certainly for you in Missouri, you probably don't have a lot of chargers available. But again, if you charge at home, assuming you have multiple vehicles, aren't there a lot of trips that you can make within 100 miles round trip?
Yeah, we could go from the farm to Lebanon, but if I went to Springfield, Missouri, from the farm, that's about 55 miles each way. Now, if I came back, and when I make a trip to Springfield, like let's say I went to Ziggy's for a meetup, if I leave in the afternoon and return at night, I'd be using my headlights for the entire trip back. Now, would that, and that's a 110-mile round trip, would I be able to make it with an electric car?
You would with a Tesla, and the headlights, of course, in most of these cars now are LED, and I know we've done a couple of shows on talking about the advantage of LED lighting. So electric cars typically have all the best technology, LED lighting. They're very streamlined. Even my sound system in my Nissan Leaf is specially designed for efficiency. And you wonder, why are they putting all these ultra-efficient items in electric cars? Well, the reason is, in a regular car, it doesn't make much difference to make the car a little more streamlined. I mean, it's already so inefficient that these changes, low resistance tires, for instance, is another one. They don't make much difference in a gasoline car because it's already so inefficient. But in an electric car, where we're talking about something that's 80 or 90% efficient, then it does make a difference to put in better tires and make the car streamlined and improve the operation of the audio system and the headlights. So that's why you see those things in the modern electric car.
Okay. Now, when you were preparing to own your electric car, obviously you think in advance and prepare. Did you wire your garage or wherever you're going to charge your car for that? And if so, what did you have to add to your existing home wiring?
So level 2 works on 220 volts. You can, it's a 40 amp circuit. It's actually charging at 30 amps, but you use a 40 amp rated wire and circuit breaker. So basically, just like you'd be wiring for an electric oven or your dryer, you just run a 220 line. And you, in my case, I opted for a charger that had a plug on it, so you can actually remove the charger if you want and move it somewhere, because it plugs into a standard 220 receptacle, and you just mount this charger on the wall, plug it into your 220 outlet, and then there's a cable that is about 40 feet long that stretches over to your car, and you have a little opening in your car just like a gas tank, and it's different model cars have it in different places, but you flip that open, you plug in the little plug, which is now universal amongst all the manufacturers. And in my case, I have a timer that adjusts to only charge the car when the electric rate is lower. And so that's a good thing to do. And the most important thing to know is that my electric bill after buying the electric car has only gone up by about $20 a month. And the reason for that is, even though my electric use has now almost doubled, you get a lower rate from your electric utility. We do this in California with PG&E, and many other utilities across the country are doing this to encourage electric car use, offering a lower electric rate, usually at night, to charge your car.
So let me see if I've got this right. Are you saying that you're doing all the driving that you need to do on $20 worth of electricity per month?
Well, that's. I said my bill went up by 20. I'd probably say I'm doing it more on. It depends how you want to factor your bill, because you got cheaper electricity for everything else you're using it for in your house. So the answer is it's probably more like $40 or $50 of electricity. But the reality is your bill only went up by 20 because they lowered the rate for everything you're using electricity for.
Okay. So let me ask you this. A lot of us are in the preparedness mindset here. If we had an electric car and it were half charged, we're looking at what, 50 miles for the Nissan model that you have? It'll go 50. Okay, it'll go 50 miles on a half a charge.
Yeah.
How long would that battery hold that charge and keep it at 50%? So let's say the grid went down. If the grid went down, we can't go to our big tank and refill the gasoline tank with an electric car. We're stuck with whatever we have in the battery reserve, what it's charged to. How long will it hold 50%?
Well, these are lithium batteries, so lithium batteries typically do hold their power over a very long time. So long enough that that's not going to be a factor here. And, of course, the answer to what you said, and maybe that's a topic for another show, is solar panels. I mean, if we want to really talk about sustainability and the environment, I mean, the ultimate solution here is to have solar panels at your home or farm and actually be selling the electricity back to the electric company during the day, drawing it off the grid at night, but if being neutral, and effectively you're really charging your car for almost free in that situation.
Bert, we always look at the alternative possibilities, think outside the box, to use that old expression. And as you were saying this, I thought of the coolest thing. Now, for me, I was thinking, electric car's not going to work, it's not going to work, not going to work. But when you mentioned solar panels, the biggest problem, the biggest nut to crack, the biggest obstacle that a person has in putting solar panel in a home or a farm or a ranch is those darn batteries. Now, as an electronic engineer, could we use the car's battery bank as the battery bank for our farm, our home, our ranch? What I'm saying is, could that be the storage battery bank for our solar system?
Well, I think that'd be a little bit of a Rube Goldberg if you actually wanted to buy an electric car so you can store your solar panel energy to then power your farm with. But it is an answer to how to charge your car and keep it charged. And of course,
where I'm going with this is, okay, what's the other use for this car besides it being a car? Seriously, in my case, what I'm facing is if the grid goes down, I'm going to be running a generator to power through the broadcast. Well, if I had an electric car, plugged in the garage, and I had a switching system that would say, okay, power went down, immediately transfer to battery backup, could I use those batteries in the car? And yeah, even though it's a Rube Goldberg, I think it's a pretty neat way to go. Is it possible to make that happen, do you think?
Well, I'm pretty sure the electrical interface is only designed to go one way on those connectors that connect to the charger inside the car. But, I think once I get power in my car, I probably want to keep it there because if it is a situation where you have the grid down, I think you want your car charged so you can go out and get supplies, buy things, go to the store, that sort of thing. But, of course, you can charge your car from a generator. In other words, if you have electric generators on your farm producing AC, you can certainly use that to charge your car.
Okay, so we now know that we're going to have at least a level 1 charger, 110 volts, going to take a whole day. I don't think, initially that's probably okay, but that for the long run, that's not going to work. You need a level 2.
That's more for emergency use. You really want to put a level 2 charger into your garage or somewhere else at your house.
Okay, so if I lived in California and I were maybe 60, 70, 80 miles from you, and you came to visit, would you, first thing, you'd say, hey, Vinny, how's it going? Where's the outlet? I mean,
yeah. I mean, that's exactly what's going to happen. I mean, believe it or not, in 5 or 10 years, that's exactly what's going to happen when people are visiting each other.
Okay, so they're going to look for that.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I'd love to stay, but I think if I'm going to go home tonight, just show me that outlet, okay, so I can charge my vehicle. All right, so let's talk about the lifestyle. Has it changed your lifestyle at all driving this electric car? Is it absolutely quiet? Does it make any noise? What's different? I guess you don't have to change your oil.
No oil, no antifreeze, no transmission fluid. There is windshield washer fluid.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about the lifestyle when we come back, and let's talk about the cost of ownership. We talked about how much it costs to for electricity, the increase. Let's talk about the cost of ownership. Bert Bertones. We'll be right back. It's always great having Bert Bertones on with us, and he always brings a fresh perspective to the class. And we're talking about electric cars and the cost of ownership. Tom, our producer at Genesis Communications, has a question for you, Bert. Tom, please go ahead.
So recently we had some storms in our area, Bert, and hi. And it knocked out a lot of our power in our area, and a couple of transformers went off. And I was wondering, in case that happened and you were parked out on the street with one of these things, what would be the effects of, for the lack of a better term, an EMP sort of electromagnetic pulse? Would the body of the car protect it against that, or would you have to do something extra to protect it?
Bert, did you get the question?
No, I was completely cut off on that.
Okay, here's the question. If there were an EMP, let's say it were a transformer that blew in the neighborhood, a small EMP, or let's say it's a large coronal mass ejection, would there be concern? Would you need to protect the vehicle from that? Would it suffer damage from that, or is it automatically already protected?
You're talking about while it's charging or while it's driving?
Well, both. Let's talk about both scenarios. Okay.
So while it's charging, there's first of all, you're going through a circuit breaker, and then the charger unit you mount in the garage. The funny thing is that's not really the charger. The charger is built into the car. The unit you buy is basically a bunch of relays and protective devices. So for that pulse to get through your circuit breaker and then through your charger is probably very low probability of getting through. So, I mean, likely it would trip the breaker or shut down the charging, but and maybe even damage the circuit breaker or the charger, but probably not the car. As far as driving, that's a topic for another show because we just don't know. The sun does periodically have these fits. The last big one happened in the 1800s. And it blew out telegraph lines, and they say that you could pick up the electricity on railroad rails, but there were this was in the late 1800s, I believe. There were no real electronics working, no radios, so we don't know what that would do. And, it's not just cars. I mean, I would guess cars are going to be a little bit immune because they're, on wheels. They're fairly small aperture. What happens to all our power line equipment, transmission, to our radios, to our satellite communications? We just don't know. But I think the problem could be a lot worse than your electric car at that point.
Yeah, Bert, you're talking about the Carrington effect of a massive solar storm in 1859.
Yes.
Grand Central Station was set ablaze from the massive amount of electricity that was transferred through the telegraph lines right into Grand Central Station. Ken, did you have something that you wanted to?
Yeah, Bert, Ken Hurley here. What is the voltage of an electric car? And just the voltage of an electric car.
I believe they're about 48 volts is the voltage that most of it uses. There is two real circuits. So actually, I have two sets of batteries. I have the batteries for the electric motor, and then there's a separate battery which is for the air conditioning, the audio system, and all the accessories. Now, my car has an option, which is a solar panel, which keeps the regular battery charged, which is kind of neat. But most electric cars are around 48 volts, which is under the 50 volt safety and good voltage to use. I think it does vary a little bit, though, amongst the models.
Bert, there was this controversy with Thomas Edison and George Westinghouse with AC versus DC, and your electric car is DC powered. Do you have to worry about being electrocuted by your own vehicle at 48 volts?
No.
Yeah, you can put your fingers right across the terminals at 48 volts and you'll be fine.
Yeah, and you know why it's DC is because that's what batteries are.
Yeah. Hey, Bert, thanks so much. We're going to have another class on driving an electric vehicle, what it feels like, what operationally you experience with that, how it handles, the overall costs of it. Thanks so much for being with us, Bert, Tom, Ken Hurley. I'm Vin Finelli. This is USA Prepares. Above all, honesty and integrity. What happens next is up to you.